Of all the videos I made on Shamima Begum, and there are many to speak of, let's face it, she is quite interesting for only a 19-year-old former British citizen. The one I never made is the one we're now going to cover, and that would concern the British ISIS matchmaker, the person who actually is responsible for luring Shamima Begum to Syria, the one who promised her a utopia, a husband, her children, and to live in a beautiful caliphate that, as I have already stated, looks like a Walmart car park after Black Friday. For that, we need Tooba Gondal. If I've mispronounced your name, I don't care. I have no reason to care. So Tooba Gondal left the United Kingdom from East London no less in 2015 at the age of 21. She travelled to Raqqa in Syria. She has since reappeared since the fall of the fabled, glorious caliphate of the... Actually, who ran that place? Where has she reappeared, you ask? At the Ain Issa detention camp with her young children. Gondal has made a number of pleas to the British people because there are things she really needs now. Because she regrets what she did, yo. Swag. She's like totes remorseful for grooming a bunch of children who are now stuck there also, living with the consequences. Now we have to be consistent. First, let's hear her demands, and then let's show her the same courtesy we showed Shamima Begum. You see, this all comes down to a fundamental problem. With Shamima, when she first was offered the chance, she showed no remorse. And by first offered the chance, it was when she had the chance to speak to interviewers and journalists. She could have then shown remorse, but instead she shifted the goalpost to attempt to justify, which was when the decision was made by Sajid Javid to revoke her citizenship, something which is being upheld by Priti Patel. Tooba Gondal is pleading that her children are completely innocent, and because of the consequences of her actions, they are suffering for it, starvation being among a number of concerns raised about the safety of her children. Now I take a very simple view. Children should be 100% exempt from anything that the mother has to go through. So in that case, I would allow the children back to the United Kingdom provided there was a family there that could care for them. And in this case, it would be Tooba Gondal's father. Therefore, I would 100% support the children going to live with the father, who has said that Tooba has been served a Home Office exclusion order, which was served over Christmas last year. Quite the gift, I must say. Very generous of them. I hope it was gift-wrapped. Exclusion orders, for those who don't know, typically prevent somebody from entering a country for a number of reasons. Some of these normally range around the 2-year mark. Since we don't have access to what Tooba Gondal has been issued, we can't tell if it is a permanent exclusion order or if it is a temporary exclusion order. But, as we know for a fact that she had groomed a number of people to go to Raqqa, she will undoubtedly be excluded permanently. The issue now would arise with the children who the father is. Nationality-wise, one could argue that the children could hold dual national status and therefore should be allowed to be transported to the UK. Chances are she won't allow that because she wants to come back too. All of this comes from an open letter that she penned that has been published by The Times, and I thought it right we address certain aspects of it. Oh, and the children are British because the husband was also British before she divorced him and he ended up using himself as a suicide bomber. Congratulations, you're a martyr and a top-notch father. So, dear British people, my name is Tooba Gondal. I wish to write this letter as an apology more than anything else. To the British public first and foremost, I am not a terrorist. X. I have never harmed you, nor do I intend to. You haven't harmed those that are here, but you did harm those you took out of the country. I was a vulnerable target to ISIS recruiters. I was manipulated and persuaded that it was an obligation as a Muslim to travel to Syria. Have you ever considered looking at a map to see what Syria was looking like before you even went there? I doubt you did. If you had, you probably would have noticed The topographical map would have resembled the hardcore level of a construction site. I never became a member of ISIS, something which an investigation would have to prove. I was forced at many stages to marry, and I can't say how many times I tried to escape. I wanted to leave from the start, but it became impossible. These criminals threatened to kill my babies. It's almost like your action had a consequence. Do forgive me for not showing any pity, but I can tell when someone's begging it. But God eventually made the impossible possible. Both myself and my children have suffered war injuries and have endured starvation in sieges. Although I must be held to account for travelling to Syria, my children are completely innocent and they have done nothing wrong. I agree. Now an investigation in Syria should take place to ascertain whether you had any involvement. If none was found, then of course you should be freed. Then you should face British justice for what you did do here, grooming young girls. Your children are also innocent. I stand by my belief that your children should be returned to the United Kingdom. Now that we know especially that the father is British, those children are British, and Syrian because they were born in Syria, I believe. But they should be allowed to be transported back. I desperately wish for the British government to take us back. 2 out of 3 would be a good one, I think, don't you agree? I want to prove that I am a changed person. You'd have to go through a rather lengthy amount of rehabilitation programming just to be considered maybe worthy. A much better individual for society. I offer to help prevent vulnerable Muslims from being targeted and radicalized. Well, I'd love to see what you have on the table for that. We are now living in dire conditions at Camp Ain Issa in Syria. There is limited food and medical care. Consequences. It is a filthy environment with open sewers. I feel like you just described London. It is not just for my government to keep us here for nearly a year now. I want to face justice in a British court. You mean the one where you'd stand a chance of being let off? I'm kidding. I firmly stand in favour of justice. I first of all believe, though, you should stay there, though, Tooba, because you should face for the crimes you committed there, if any at all. Yes, they're taking their time. Sorry about that. I can't influence how Syrian officials and the legal system there deals with it. Their country is a bit of a mess right now, so do forgive them if they have other priorities. I wish to redeem myself. I would like Britain to accept my apology and give me another chance. Never expect nor demand respect. That is a rule I live by, and I think it can be transposed and reapplied to never expect nor demand an apology or forgiveness. I do believe if you can get through whatever it is in Syria that you face, you should be freed. You have an exclusion order placed on you here, and you would have to jump through some immense hoops to even be considered worthy of treading on British soil ever again. Your children should be allowed here. They should be allowed back here and be given the life they deserved, as opposed to the life you thought you had a chance of having, because as you stated in your own open letter, you were a vulnerable target. Like, that is an excuse for you then using other people because of this nonsensical idea of a caliphate. You live in one of the best countries in the world. Sorry, did. You lived in the United Kingdom. One of the best, one of the greatest. Such a rich history and culture. And you threw it all away to live in rubble. What you did and what you decided to do is a direct consequence of your poor decisions. Live with them. Now, I am done with this. I would love to know what you think about it. I will link both articles down below. There was a new video on Moistonia Live about how Jo Swinson is a Tory. Yeah, I know. Right. Her voting record doesn't help her. Also, going to be streaming on Twitch at 7 PM till 9 PM. Some Barents Sea fishing game. Enjoy it. Yes. It's going to be fun. Also, I'm going to be streaming a PMQ stream. And guess what, guys? Dominic Raab fills in for Boris because Boris was giving his keynote speech at the time. I had both on at the same time. It was very entertaining. He makes a few mistakes. Worth it. He's up against Diane Abbott. Oh, Nelly. She's precious, by the way. I now want to see Boris Johnson against Diane Abbott. That, to me, delicious.